Gun control has been a widely debated topic for many years. After several school shootings, teens are stepping up to express their opinion. I'm Shelby Parscale, and I'm here with Cora Wright, Sam Royce, Ben Foch, and Riley Williams to discuss this topic. In regards to arming teachers in schools, there are strong opinions on both sides. Many question if the weapon could fall into the wrong hands. The Trace, a gun-oriented news outlet, recently published an article about a school district that has an idea to counter this. Several schools in this Ohio school district are placing biometric gun safes in secret locations. These gun safes are only able to be opened by a designated staff member whose fingerprint can open the box. What are your opinions on this?
The expenses that it would take to arm, every school, every teacher in the entire U.S. would be insane amounts of money. And, the training required to fully make someone, good with a gun, to make someone, on a level where they are accurate and competent and, able to, prevent threats or, be able to defend themselves against threats is a lot more than just, a weekend class and, a license can give you. So if you arm teachers, that just honestly increases the risk for accidents or bad things to happen.
But wouldn't it also prevent bad things from happening?
Because
let's say we have two classrooms. One classroom, the teacher has a gun and one doesn't. Which would you rather be in if a shooter was coming? Or any type of armed intruder?
does that stand up to the capacity and the caliber of a fully automated assault rifle?
It's not always an assault rifle.
Exactly. And I think arming teachers, there's a risk when it comes to accidents and things like that. We're talking about arming every teacher, which wouldn't necessarily be the deal. You give it to the teachers that would volunteer to do that, would be qualified, and after tests, which would be very extensive just to ensure the safety of all the students, we would go to make sure that they are trained well enough to take down a shooter. And when it comes to pistol versus assault rifle, or rifle, looking at two people with pistols versus one person with a rifle, that's when the odds start to differ.
My opinion is that in the first place, this shouldn't be a thing. And because we have, the issue is security with school and people's access with guns. We can't make this school much safer, and that's across the globe, I think. Locked doors, metal detectors, you're taking it too far because you're making it feel like an unsafe environment. So I think if just in the first place, if guns aren't permitted to a general public, legally being able to purchase a gun, it'll be easier.
So
This makes sense. This would be.
Are you talking just not letting people have firearms in general?
Yes, or at least not semi-automatic or not an AR.
AR is just a brand,
Yeah.
Armalite rifle.
Yeah.
And then semi-automatic, that's pretty much any gun in general.
There's definitely a difference between bringing in a rifle and then a handgun.
Well, we also have the issue that schools are advertised as gun-free zones. So they already know we are defenseless, and they're already using illegal guns most of the time. So, we're not even defended. Mm-hmm. We defend jewelry stores, celebrities, every other government building except our own children.
But the thing is that the guns that they're using aren't illegal. They're not illegally purchasing guns off the black market. They are going into gun expos, gun stores, taking guns that their parents have bought, and they are using them to slaughter children. If you think that the average person, if you think that any of us should just be able to walk in to Jeff's gun store and buy an automatic weapon that can fire hundreds of bullets in a matter of seconds, that's something that our military should be using to protect our country. That's not something that the average citizen needs to have to protect their family.
Well, they don't. But they do.
Okay, illegally. You don't walk into Jeff's gun store and purchase a 100-round per minute machine gun.
But you can buy an AR-15 perfectly legally, and you can kill the kid in Florida killed how many kids in 3 minutes?
To be noted that the FBI failed them. The school officer did nothing. So that is one of those situations where other people could have been prevented that.
But still in the first place.
But you can't blame the gun. You have to blame the people and all this.
How can you not blame the gun though?
Because they had 40-something calls on this kid before the incident happened. They did nothing about it.
If he didn't have a gun,
He'd still find a way to get one. He wanted to cause harm in the first place. He just had easy access to the gun. If he didn't have access to the gun, he'd figure out some other way to inflict that damage. He didn't say, oh, I have a gun, I'm going to do this. He wanted to do the action, and the gun was the tool that he had.
It's almost impossible for you to cause the same amount of damage in the same amount of time with a blade than it is with a gun.
In response to school shootings, students have taken charge by organizing school walkouts, marches, and protests. Schools have tried implementing things like text-to-tip so students feel more comfortable coming forward with information about students or events that may require interventions. There has also been discussion on placing more metal detectors in schools, locking more doors, and hiring additional resource officers. With those ideas in mind, what are your opinions on the efficiency of text-to-tip and implementing more security measures in our own school?
I think more security measures is a good start. Metal detectors, like looking at inner city schools, they already have those things because they have lots of threats there and they're dangerous places, except they would be incredibly difficult to use as we have over 2,000 students here and trying to cram all of them through metal detectors every morning, and we see how long that takes in airports and things like that. It would just be very inefficient. Locking doors is a good step. We have the new magnet locks, those are good too. But when it comes to it, you're basically drawing this analogy, so someone comes at you with a sword. Would you rather have a sword or a shield? I think we're looking more at having a shield where we can defend ourselves, but we have no way of stopping them once they get here. We're just sitting there waiting until police arrive to stop them from committing any actions. We have our SRO officer here, which is good, but he can only do so much. He's one person. So I think we could look into getting more security or just more ways of securing us here so we can stop the threat while it's here instead of waiting for someone else to come in and stop it for us.
I would agree. I would agree with the fact that having another trained SRO would be a good option. That would, I feel, help not just increase the safety, but increase the peace of mind of students. Having multiple armed but trained and licensed resource officers, police officers here would be a good thing, because these are the people who have been extensively for years on end trained with firearms. They have multiple licenses and registrations, and they are completely competent. And these are the people who are deserving of weaponry.
kind of going back to the teachers thing, if my teachers were armed, that's just not comfortable at all for me, because why have such a powerful weapon around at all times, even though I know there's the threat that there is. But yeah, and when it's kind of hard with the security and everything, especially the metal detectors, it just makes you feel so unsafe, because I guess you know about your vulnerability and the dangers other people possess.
Well, harm is going to occur no matter what. You can implement as many laws and regulations as you can. Criminals are still going to commit crime. And by arming teachers, you're not going to arm every single one. Obviously, not every teacher wants to be armed, and some teachers won't be qualified to be armed in that sense. But we need to, if we're going to arm teachers, it's only going to be ones that are qualified, that are willing to do that, and are capable of possessing a gun and using it properly and efficiently. And I think, sorry, that's kind of all I got on that, but.
I do have a question for you. So why do you feel safer knowing you're not as well protected, but it makes you uncomfortable to know you are protected by something?
Well, I'm just uncomfortable by guns, is the thing. It's such a powerful tool, and I don't want to be surrounded by it, And I think, because I am a very pro-gun control person, I think that I just don't see the point in guns. Going back to the Constitution, it's like a tyranny in government to protect against your government. But I feel I don't know, in a situation we have now, guns shouldn't be as available as they are. And
many of our founding fathers agreed that the Constitution deserves to be adapted with time. And you see, that's what the amendments to the Constitution are for. And if we don't keep adapting, especially our gun laws, to the changing times and the changing weaponry, we're not going to ever get out of this cycle of violence that we've gotten ourselves into.
Well, that's like saying that since the freedom of speech was back then, that you can't use that on social media, that it's only for Old English. I mean, times have evolved, you're right. But that doesn't mean that, it's outdated now. I mean, things will continue.
And technology changes. The founding fathers, they made clauses because they understood their constitution would be perfect. They made clauses to understand that times will change, and so will technology. So that's why the Bill of Rights was such broadly written. They didn't say you have the right to own a musket. You have the right to bear arms, because they knew arms would change and evolve and get better. And same with the freedom of speech. They didn't say you have the right to you have the right to write with a quill and pen whatever you want. They say you have the right to say whatever you want because they understood that our ways of communicating would change and evolve.
And with that, gun control will be a widely debated topic for a long time, but hopefully we'll see some sort of change soon. With that, I'm Shelby Parscale reporting for Titan Television.